Ukraine's president has finally surrendered to Putin's demand. Zelensky has told reporters that Ukraine is prepared to pull back its troops from parts of the eastern Donetsk region that remain under Kiev's control and turn them into a demilitarized zone as part of a possible peace deal with Russia. It's a major development, and it also marks the closest that Zelensky has come to addressing the contentious territorial disputes in Donetsk that have repeatedly derailed those peace talks. After nearly 4 years of the war and months of the US-backed diplomatic efforts, this proposal signaling a new willingness to compromise, but also highlighting the significant gaps that remain between the two sides. Zelensky made it clear that any Ukrainian pullback would be conditional, and Russia, he said, would have to withdraw its own forces from an equivalent stretch of territory in Donetsk. And according to the new draft peace plan, unveiled by the Ukrainian president, the demilitarized zone could be expanded to include not only areas vacated by the Ukrainian troops, but also Russian-controlled areas from which Moscow would pull its forces. Zelensky has stressed that any withdrawal must be mutual, and the exact size and boundaries of the proposed zone remain unclear. However, Zelensky said it could include the Ukrainian-held cities of Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, which form Kiev's last major defensive line in eastern Donetsk. Under the proposal, the two sides would be separated by a buffer zone administered by international forces. So far, the Kremlin has given no indication that it is prepared to accept any arrangement short of full control over the Donetsk region. The demilitarized zone proposal is part of a revised 20-point peace plan drawn up by Ukraine and the United States in recent weeks. The plan addresses a broad range of issues, including potential territorial arrangements, security guarantees for Ukraine, and an ambitious framework for rebuilding the war-ravaged country. Zelensky has described the plan as Ukraine's best chance to end the war and said it is now up to Russia to decide how to respond. And he confirmed that the United States is presenting the proposal to Moscow and that Kiev expects a response by Wednesday evening. The Ukrainian leader said the proposals largely reflect a joint Ukrainian-American position. However, Kiev and Washington remain divided on two key issues reportedly. First, the final status of Ukrainian-held territory in Donetsk. Number two, control of a major nuclear power plant currently occupied by the Russian forces. On this, Kiev offered to manage the nuclear power plant jointly with the US as a form of compromise. And Western analysts are saying that even if the proposals are accepted by Washington, Moscow is still likely to reject them. The Kremlin, remember, has repeatedly stated that its primary objective is full control of Donetsk, either through military force or negotiation. And it has also dismissed any return of the nuclear plant to Ukrainian control. Zelensky has expressed cautious optimism that Russia may avoid an open rejection to prevent damaging relations with the United States. He warned that a rejection should carry serious consequences. Remember, territory remains the most difficult issue in any peace deal. Ukrainian officials saying giving up heavily fortified areas could leave the country vulnerable to future Russian attacks. And there are also humanitarian concerns, including the displacement of civilians, and ceding territory could deliver a major blow to Ukrainian national morale. And for these reasons, Zelensky said any demilitarized zone would require approval through a national referendum. The president has also described the potential demilitarized areas as a free economic zone. Analysts say the language may be aimed at appealing to US business interests and Washington's economic priorities. The plan also envisions a massive reconstruction fund to rebuild Ukraine with strong participation from US and European companies. Zelensky says the United States and Europe could each contribute up to $100 billion with a long-term goal of raising as much as $800 billion. It remains unclear whether European countries have formally committed to the plan. On security, Zelensky said post-war support would come from a coalition of the willing, which is a group of around 30 countries, which could include the deployment of European forces in Ukraine. The Kremlin has already said such a move would be unacceptable. With major divides still in place, it remains absolutely uncertain whether this latest peace push will actually end that war. But for now, all eyes are on Moscow. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.